Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Morning, we're doing well. And yourself?
Good, thank you. Really excited to resume In the Zone. For those of you that are new to In the Zone, I'll give you a little back history real quick. We started Monday mornings at 9 a.m. Facebook Live. Rosie and I did just to stay connected to everybody since we were all locked up in our homes, and we called it Cup of Joe, which is why I will always have a cup of Joe with me. Then it transitioned to In the Zone, and we took a hiatus because we were trying to figure out if we were going to revamp it and change things up, and we decided not to. So Valerie still shows up with no makeup on, her gym clothes, and her visor, and a cup of Joe because I'm either working out before or after. So this helps me force myself to get it in. So we're really excited to have John and Samantha Mejia here from Mega Services Solutions. But before we get started with introductions, I just want to recognize today is 9/11. I know for many Americans, it still weighs very heavy on our hearts and minds. And thank you to everybody, all the people, all the organizations that continue to remember a terrible incident that unfortunately, it was very unfortunate, but fortunately, it brought all of us together as a nation. And I kind of miss that, everybody loving everybody, and what it created. But for those of you that are participating in ceremonies and remembrances for 9/11, thank you, and we're going to get started. So, John and Samantha, I met Samantha first. We were in Leadership Tampa Bay cohort together, so that was really cool. And then when she told me she was a military spouse, that made her even more cool to me because, as somebody who retired from the Army and had a lot of troops with spouses, they really are the rock of the family. So, really appreciate Samantha and everything you did for your soldier, John. Um, and so Mega Services Solutions, and I'm going to let you guys talk a little bit more about that, is a second generation family run business, which is really cool because that doesn't always happen these days. Second and third generation businesses, family run businesses don't survive. So I'm just going to start by letting both of you introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll go into talking more about Mega.
Okay, you want to start?
Sure. So my background is in healthcare. I worked with home health and hospice for 13 years. I started in Ohio, which is where I'm from. We went from Ohio to Oklahoma, Texas, back to Oklahoma, back to Texas, and then Florida.
Yeah. And so I am Chicago native, grew up there, and then I decided to go to West Point. I got accepted to West Point, New York, did the academy where I was commissioned as an officer. And then I did the little trip with Samantha all the way to Oklahoma, Texas, and back. And I had a couple deployments overseas during that time frame. After that time frame, we decided to kind of part ways from the military. Nothing negative with the military. We just want to spend more family time. And we were given the opportunity to come down here to Tampa, and I was given the opportunity to take over Mega Service Solutions.
And talk a little bit about that, like the military journey, Samantha, being, because you guys didn't start dating until after John got accepted to West Point or before?
So after I guess. So he started at the prep academy. So we
Hmm.
met when he was at the prep school before he went to West Point, and we started dating then. I was at Ohio State and he was at West Point. So we both did our 4 years in college before we moved in together and got married. And then we decided to have a baby and then do our masters together. Because that's fun to do when you're pregnant with a 1-year-old.
So yeah, we got
Yeah,
instead
and
of
both of you in school.
yeah, so instead of doing like a big marriage, like a big
Wedding.
wedding, we actually decided to get our masters together, which is we learned a lot about each other during that time frame, and then kind of maneuvering the professional life, the school life, and the parent life, and also the relationship life, right? Because yeah, that's another pillar there that we had to kind of maneuver through and learn a lot about each other during that time frame.
Yeah, especially, well, relatively still young, probably in your mid 20s, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
25,
taking
26.
on, yeah, taking on all of those responsibilities. That um Well, that's great because I don't know that I could be getting my master's the same time as Jeremy. Well, we don't have kids, so we probably could do it. We'd be fighting over who's walking the dog in the morning
Yeah,
based
we
on
would
assignment.
one of us would be doing a test, and it was all online at the time. So one of us would be doing a test, and then we'd have to pass the baby, and then the other person would do the test.
Yeah.
So, but we passed and we graduated together. So
Now,
we went back down to Killeen. That's where our graduation was. So we walked across the stage together.
On our way, we were
uh,
peacing from Oklahoma. We stopped in Killeen for the graduation and then kept driving down to El Paso.
oh gosh.
The
So,
U-Haul and everything.
oh man. And so, you El Paso, you guys were at Fort Hood.
Correct.
Yeah. And no offense to anybody who's listening from El Paso, but back in the day, which was a long time ago, because I retired from the Army and I've been retired for 10 years. We used to say it was the armpit of America, but had the best food ever,
Yeah.
from
Fort Bliss.
steak to
Yeah.
Yeah, Fort Bliss, El
Fort
Paso.
Bliss.
Yeah,
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Had
The food was amazing.
amazing food there.
Uh-huh.
The best Italian restaurant I've ever eaten in my life. 51 years old. I still remember it. It's like 15 plus years ago. It was delicious.
And they had the
So,
steakhouses because they had all of the
mhm,
farms. Oh, it
It
was
was
good.
really
It was
yeah,
good.
it was really good.
We ate a lot.
So, okay, now how did you guys transition from military life to Mega Solutions?
Okay, so
Oh, Mega
I-
Solutions.
yeah, so I was in I finished my command time and I put in my refrat packet, but for some reason they wanted me to serve another command time as I transitioned out. So I went ahead and served in the command time during my transition. And then Samantha actually headed down here to Tampa first.
I accepted a job offer in Clearwater. So I came in September and he didn't come till the last week of October, I think.
First week of October, yeah.
Yeah.
So as soon as I decided to do that, so I called my father, and then he actually called me, and then he goes, "Hey, I'm actually done with Mega Service Solutions. I'm tired. I want to retire." Right? He's like, "Are you willing to take over?" And I said, "Sure." So that's when we decided to move out that way. She moved first with the kids, and I was doing the trips with the cars to take the cars from El Paso all the way over, and she flew. So we took care of that portion. We did have the movers move everything else, and then following that. Yeah, so that's when I took over in October. And then in March of the following year was when I asked Samantha that I needed additional support in sales and asked her to come on over just for part-time, just to try it
I was
out.
going to try it and I haven't left.
I don't know if she fell in love with the job or she fell in love with me.
She was already in love with you. She decided to come on part-time to help you. That's kind of like with Jeremy and I when I launched Luminary, we had this long-term strategic plan. It was going to be we're going to do government contracting. His background is in staffing and recruiting. And of course, I'm a first sergeant, so training, and we were going to figure out what we're going to do with both of our talents there. And I ended up getting a couple of contracts in the first 6 months. And I told him, I was like, hey, I need help. We were planning on him staying in his position like 12 to 18 months because government contracting, it's such a long sales cycle. But things are moving so rapidly. And I was like, you need to leave your firm and come work for mama, basically. I was like, I need help. And so what is that dynamic like? So Jeremy and I, we don't have kids, so we have one less, I don't want to call it friction point, but plate to balance. So what is it like being a married couple, running a business together, having a young family, and just making it all happen?
So I think one of the things that we decided early on is we don't, unless it's absolutely necessary, we don't talk about work at home. So we ride to and from work together on most days. And a lot of times we will talk about work the entire way to and from, but the second we pull into the driveway, we don't talk about work anymore.
Yeah, it's just family time.
It's just family time.
So that part's good. And then we've been fortunate enough to have my mother actually move in with us. She retired from in Chicago, and she moved down here, and she's been able to help us out a lot with the kids. So especially as an entrepreneur. Yeah, you stop talking about work at home, but your phone never stops. Um,
Yeah, that's awesome.
it's worth it.
Well, right. The phone never stops. The emails never come. It's kind of like back in the day in the army, and I'm sure you know this, John, is you got your personal cell and your BlackBerry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they expect you to, answer emails and stuff 24/7. Yeah, Jeremy, we don't have that rule. When we first uh full-time in business, my only thing was we're not going to be fat and unhealthy entrepreneurs. You know, I still cook almost all of our meals. Even if I have a night event, there's home cooked food in the refrigerator. We try our best to get our workouts in, two, three, we're lucky 4 days a week, but that was like our thing. We do talk about work a lot until it's evening time. We both need a lot of time to decompress. So we sit on the couch, watch TV, and we don't really talk. Just it's like brainless TV.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what we say. We watch TV, but you're not really listening to it.
Sometimes you're not even
Yeah,
at, you're just looking at the pictures of the screen.
right. It's just like background noise. So, how are things at Mega Services Solutions as a whole? Tell us a little bit about the company and where you guys are at now.
Yeah, so when I took over, it was there was a little bit of structure that needed to be put in place, and some systems and processes that we needed to fix, just because I know the more you start scaling, there's certain factors that you can't keep using, right? So
Mhm.
we kind of switched it out from complete janitorial services to facility management. So we've been able to kind of grow that wing or that arm in Mega Service Solutions. So now, like, we offer janitorial services. People like trust us with their keys already. That's what I always say. So why not assist them with everything else? Because you as a business owner, you have a building, you have a company, you have employees. The last thing you want to worry about is cleaning your toilets and taking care of like the handyman things around your facility. So we're already there doing it for them, right? Making them look good, and then just takes off another headache and another thing off their plate. But we've been doing really well. We've been doing at least 20 to 25% growth year after year
Year
since
over
I've been
year.
here. So it's been
Oh, that's
really
great.
Mhm.
And what year did y'all take, or did you take it over?
October of 2020.
2020. And Samantha, you came on in 21?
Yep, March of 21.
21. That's awesome. That's an incredible. What a power couple, power team.
Been fun.
Every
Before
day different.
Yeah, it definitely is. Rosie and I led before 2020, Techstars Tampa Bay startup was here every year, and we led the veterans track. And I would get questions all the time from people like, "What's it like to work with your spouse?" Like I couldn't do it. So we actually had a panel called "Sleeping with the Boss," and it was couples that had their businesses together, and it was really cool to hear their success in marriage and life, building life together, and in business, and all the lessons learned from there. That's really cool. So what's next then? You move from janitorial services to facility management. What's next?
Because running a business and having 3 kids is not enough. So I am actually going and actually am starting my GC courses. So
Oh,
back to school I go. I started school again the beginning of August. So I'm working to get my general contractor license. So what we're trying to do is kind of develop another business on the side, right? Which is a general contractor. She's gonna get her real estate license, and then we're gonna have Alonzo get his brokerage license, and we're gonna develop another business. We just want to continue growing different aspects,
yeah.
and it's something that Samantha and I, we kind of went through
We
it.
dabbled in it
We
in
dabbled.
Oklahoma. We flipped a house.
We flipped a house and we loved it, right? We love seeing things kind of like turn into something, right? Something that's either bad and you turn into something beautiful, or something that's not there and you're able to say, "Hey, I built that." So we kind of like that
Mhm.
aspect. So we kind of want to go and dabble into that space.
I thought you guys were going to say you're going to have another kid.
No.
No, 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 no.
The last one turned BBK this year, so it's very
Every time somebody says that, like stops my heart for a second. I love my kids.
But John did get another dog, so we have 4 dogs now.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. Wow.
And I don't complain, but we have two. They're a lot. Of course, we only rescue, so they come with different, I don't like to call it baggage, different suitcases. That we work through. So I love this GC real estate thing because Jeremy and I have talked about that as well. We had a very, very horrible experience with renovating this house that we're still working on. And I was like, man, I'm gonna go get my GC license because I'm not dealing with this crap anymore. Of course, I didn't say crap. I said a lot of other four-letter words, but so that's really cool. I think that's wonderful. So you mentioned Alonso. Tell everybody who Alonso is.
Yeah, so Alonzo is my uncle. He used to work for JP Morgan for 15 years. And about 3 years ago, I asked him, like, hey, let me set everything up. Let me get this business rolling, right? Let me grow it a little bit to where I can actually afford bringing you over here. So then he actually came on board a little over a year ago,
May of last year.
May of last year, and
Okay, for not long.
started doing things with us.
Mm. And what's his role?
So he's my chief growth officer. So he pretty much goes into every department, finds efficiencies, how to grow because we're trying to scale. So our next location we're scaling to is Orlando. So he's building a package of what we need and what money we're going to need.
What it takes to go to another location.
Yeah.
In a new market.
So once we do that and we shoot that, we'll start doing city by city and start taking over every city in Florida.
And so a physical location in Orlando.
Physical, yeah.
Yeah. But you have business in other states in the country.
Yeah, we have business all over Florida, and then we have business all the way the southern region, all the way up to Washington State. But I want to do a little brick and mortar, kind of develop another sales team, like another us over in Orlando, another us over in Miami, right? So kind of develop something good where people are actually in locations and they can grow that location a lot bigger, like we are here.
That's awesome. So speaking of growing, one of the other than the fact that I love everybody over there at Mega, both of you and Alonso, one of the things I really admire about your business model is helping your employees who aspire to have their own businesses, realize that dream of being business owners. Talk a little bit about how that came about and the process. What do you do to help them become entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so I actually got this from my father. So the way he kind of started the business was he'd have employees, direct employees, and then whenever he saw some leadership or some type of growth in someone, he'd ask them if they want to become a subcontractor. So then he'd help them through the process of becoming a subcontractor, right? Getting a Sunbiz account, getting their liability insurance or workers' comp, all that, all the basics of a business to start, and then he kind of grow them as they continue to get business. So he kept giving them
contracts.
he'd feed them contracts as he gained them and then grew them, and then he'd bring them in like at a certain point. Once he felt they started getting, start getting a little shaky, and then he'd help them budget, help them with their budgeting, help them with their payroll, and also their leadership, right? Because when you get to like different echelons of business, like the way you're leading here is not the same way you can lead here, right? There's certain things you have to change in your dynamics as you're growing your business. So he would come in and mentor them. For instance, today we just started somebody's business. So today I literally brought somebody in, got them on Sunbiz. I showed them how to get their Sunbiz started, right? Got their liability insurance. I'm even financing the liability for the first 3 months as I continue to grow their book of business. And then as they continue to grow, like we just help them grow their business. So then this helped us out a lot, especially during COVID. I don't know if you talk about something negative, but it's actually positive because a lot of people stayed with us, right? They were like that loyalty. That loyalty factor is there because we helped them build their business. So we had a lot of labor during that time frame, and that actually helped us grow a lot. There's a lot of businesses that didn't have that rapport with their either employees or their subcontractors. So a lot of their subcontractors employees left or departed from working with them. So we partnered with a lot of cleaning companies around here because they didn't have the labor, and we had that labor force because we established a solid foundation of subcontractors and employees.
I love that. So I've met your dad, who's like super cool. He's very suave. What happened to you, John? You didn't, it skipped you? I'm just kidding.
The military.
Yeah, right. They steal everything from you. So was your father in the military?
No, he wasn't. I think he had a medical condition that didn't allow him to go into, but his brother went in.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, his leadership ability, his keen leadership ability to recognize potential, that's what we are taught in the military is you're not you're promoted on your potential, and you seek those out. And I was, well, anyway, I don't want to talk about too much about first sergeant business, but I think that is he recognized, I mean, that what he did was very military,
right.
you
The
know,
development,
right?
like
You see
bring them.
potential, right? You pour into them. You recognize that what they don't see in themselves, right? You pour into them, make them successful. And I mean, I still now, 10 years retired, get text messages or Facebook um, um, tagged on Facebook, about how first sergeant, helped me. Probably a lot more don't want to recognize that I was their first sergeant, but yeah, I kept a lot of tissues in my office. But that's amazing, and obviously that is something you probably gained from your father, John, and were able to put it in practice while you were in the army.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I was in the army, and then when you leave the army, the army teaches you a lot of things as well. So putting it both together and actually implementing it into the business again, I think it's been easier, and it's been something that we had a subcontractor when I started. He was making about $1,400, and I just signed his 1099 this year. It was 1.5 million dollars. So
wow, that's
it
incredible growth in 4 years.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
That is congratulations. So okay, you I don't want to say acquired, but you came into the family business. You had your built-in professor, if you will, and you said something about what you learned in the military you were able to implement into your new role as the CEO of Mega Service Solution. Oh, I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, well, your military experience. That is something that we do in Action Zone. We try to help our members realize or transition from the military mindset to the entrepreneurial mindset, helping them realize that the problem solving skills that they learned in the military translate to solving problems in the civilian sector. So, can you talk a little bit more in depth about, actually, for both of you, because Samantha, you had to be just as resilient as a military spouse, and making things happen. Like, how did those experiences play in taking over Mega?
Yeah, so I'll start off. So a lot of the military is like, I would say, is more people development, right? So you're gonna have your A players, your C players, your B players. And in the military, obviously, you're going to get some C players that need to go through certain programs and mentorship. So we kind of push that. I follow my NCOs to help me out with that a lot. But those programs that you had to develop people in the military, you kind of bring them back over here. And it's the same way you can develop subcontractors or your own employees inside it, right? So some people are going to need a little extra love, right? But it's not that they don't have the potential. They just need a little more mentorship, right? Sit down with them, give them the feedback that they need, right? I tell everybody, I'm like, hey, I'm going to sit down and give you your 90-day review, your quarterly review. I'm like, I'm not going to say you're 100% great and you don't need to work on anything. There's always something you can improve on, right? So I had a review last week with one of my executive assistant. I said, hey, like, when you look at this, I want you to know that I'm not just gonna say you're great, right? There's development points in each one of those categories that I'm doing a review on, right? And I want to get you to the next level, right? Being my executive assistant is just a start for you. I want you to be the next, right? I want you to grow within the company or eventually grow your own business, right? For instance, I had every single one of my executive assistants is either gotten promoted to a bookkeeper, got promoted to a controller, right? So each one has got actually grown within the business with us. And it's due to that development, right? You have to continue to go back, teach them, coach them, mentor them, and then they kind of grow with you in the business. It's the same way as we did in the military, right? You sat down with people, you gave them the reviews, right? Quarterly reviews. I forget the acronyms that we use so much. That's how much we've been here doing this in the business. But
And COERs and OERs. I'm thinking, like, did you steal those formats? Like, what are the categories in the review?
well, the good thing was I got my MBA during the military, so I was able to connect those dots like really.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know what behaviors I want to influence in those reviews. So those are the things I kind of categorize. and it's the same way that the NCOERs and OERs are built. So I
Yeah.
use both line and line, and it's really transferable like 100%. It's just the way that you say something in the military is not the same way you say in the civilian sector, but you're doing the same exact thing.
And I think another
Right,
thing
right.
that you brought was structure. So his dad had a great team that had been with him since the beginning. But in order to scale and in order to grow, we have to bring new people in. And you can't bring somebody new in and be like, okay, hey, we're all doing this. Come do it with us. So
Yeah,
we had to build processes. We built SOPs for every department,
KPIs.
KPIs. So we had to bring a lot of structure, I think, which we learned. I learned in the corporate sector, and then he learned in the military.
Yeah, so everything's
that's
very
We transferred
that's
long weekends, like how the Army gives you Friday and Monday long weekend. That's a good thing we transferred.
yes. I wish that we could do that, but we're by design just a two-person team. 2020 made us realize that we're really happy in this space, just the two of us. But I mean, I know we're gonna have to hire sooner rather than later, but almost 22 years of being responsible for the caring and feeding of troops, I'm just not ready to get there yet again. Yeah. That's interesting. So, um, Action Zone, being an entrepreneur, service organization, support organization, we have programs to help either those that are aspiring to be entrepreneurs or those that are already business owners kind of get over humps. Other than, you know, your father-in-law doing a data dump on all of his experience on how he built and grew Mega, and then your MBAs, your master's degrees. What other entrepreneurial or small business education programs have you taken advantage of, if at all?
I really just reach out to a lot of my mentors, especially in all my business courses. In the military, there's like colonels at West Point that I reach out to that are still there and they still teach and stuff, things like that. So whenever I run into like a large issue, right, I always reach back out to them, see what information or what kind of leadership they want to put on me, so I can kind of mentor my people or kind of bring it into the business.
I think one of our mottos we go by is there's enough food on the plate for everyone to eat. So a lot of our best friends are other owners of cleaning companies. And there's no competition there. We talk about customers out loud. We're like, this is what we're encountering. Do you know how to get past this? Do you know how to overcome this? And I think that's one of the ways we've grown is because we've made friends with other cleaning companies.
Yeah, and I'd say leadership Tampa Bay also is a huge one with us. All
Mhm.
that networking and everything. A lot of times, like we might be selling a facility management janitorial service, but our struggles are the same struggles that a vending machine owner, right? Machine owner or company owner is coming across. It's like you're running into the same things. All you need to do is just talk to each other, understand, listen, right? And then with those things, you start learning, right? Hey, wait, how'd you solve that? I have that same issue. And they tell you that, and you start learning a little bit more, right? As you ask those questions, as you learn. A lot of it is just listening, right? Don't forget to listen to people.
Mhm.
Well, I didn't pay either of you to be here and say some of the things that you're saying, but um, it hits home with Action Zone because um, we designed Action Zone to support um, as entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs in the ideation space, because that is the hardest thing, is get this idea out of your head. Address the butterflies, help them not flutter so much when you're nervous about starting a business. I'm not afraid to tell somebody your business idea because they think you're going to steal it, kind of thing. But because we are founded by all veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs, and all of our facilitators are required to be entrepreneurs, and we bring a lot of experience to the classroom, and we tell them all the time, like, the foundation of every business is the same. It doesn't matter whether you're cleaning, emergency, and first aid supplies, trauma kits, and things like that. Dog biscuits, bourbon. We've had menopause or postmenopause, menopause, but what do you call it when you have babies? Postpartum boxes. Yeah. uh, and things like that. So I appreciate you bringing up that it doesn't matter, your size company, what type of business it is, when you are the founder and you're responsible for making sure that you bring in business and the lights are on, and you can um, ensure that your employees are going to get paid, and making enough money to support their families. It's all the same. So do you have like a mastermind group, or these are just people within your network that you speak to often?
Try to meet with at least 2 people a week. I usually have like a happy hour or a lunch where I sit down with them and we just discuss business. Like it's just we sit down, say hi, do the regular, how you doing, everything like that. But we sit down just to say, how's your business doing? Like what are some things you're going into, right? And I try to pick different people from different subsectors of the community or people in my network that I actually try to do. And I've learned a lot, and I've been able to develop this business a lot just doing that. Just sitting down with different businesses once or twice a week.
And we have a sales meeting with another cleaning company, a standing weekly meeting that we just talk about sales that have come in for each of us, how we can work together, acquiring new sales, any roadblocks we've encountered, but we do a standing meeting every Thursday.
Right. And the businesses we've worked with along the other ones, they're not as large as us, but so we kind of help them kind of develop, but their ideas and what they bring to the table is so important, and it's helped us kind of grow our business as well.
And so sometimes I envision, because I've seen thousands of young companies across the country try to grow and build, that not everything that you implement based off of those conversations work, right? And so how do you recover from implementing something that just blows up?
I think one of the things, John's older brother Eddie, worked with us for a little bit, and he still consults as well.
He's also
Now
a veteran.
he's a veteran too. One of the biggest points he drives home every single day, every single time you speak to him, is data. So just because something doesn't work, he wants to see the data and we figure out why it didn't work or what to avoid in the future. So that's been one of our initiatives is technology. So everything we do is tracked. The emails, the phone calls, any of the customers or interactions, it's all tracked. So if we implement something new and it doesn't work, we can find out why it didn't work.
And we if we're going to make an implementation into the business, and it's something that's, obviously everything's a risk. Everything you do is going to be a risk to your business. And what we do is we make sure we have a forecasting model that we utilize. So if we're going to invest so much into some idea that we have, right? And we've had ideas fail, which is fine, but we learn from them. We have the data that she talks about, but I know that I'm making smart and budget friendly decisions, right? I'm not going to sit there and spend a whole bunch of money, of Mega's money, to go implement this idea that we don't even know if it's going to work in the business, but we put into our forecasting model, make sure that's not going to deter us from anywhere like where we're going to lose money and we're going to not be able to pay our employees, but it's something that we can afford to kind of invest in, right? Everything's an investment because we have to learn from the data we get, we have to learn from the decision we make, and then we also have to make sure we're keeping our profits and everything in the forecast model correct.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned technology, the tracking. You mentioned that you track everything, conversations, customers, and forecasting model. Do you have a system that you use for both of those that you can share, or are they proprietary?
No, so we use HubSpot is all of our sales in our CRM. We use Zuper for our service hub. We use
So we use HubSpot is like our brain, right? That's like our CRM, and all our platforms are all integrated into HubSpot. We use GoCanvas as a platform to do inspections. So our night supervisors and our day supervisors go out, do inspections, make sure our quality is maintained.
And all of the interactions with current customers
to standard. And then it's also any complaints or any issues that occur, we plug that information into GoCanvas so that when we sit down with our subcontractors and talk about their performance, we have that data. So then we go into HubSpot. HubSpot is where we keep all our sales. And then that's integrated into our operations platform, which is called Zuper. Zuper maintains an operational calendar, and it also maintains geo tracking locations. It maintains all our jobs, actions. And then once the job is completed, it also integrated into QuickBooks Online, which then automatically invoices the client, and then it gets that information into our bookkeeper's platform, which is QuickBooks Online. So it's all integrated.
And you said GoCanvas, CANVAS?
Uh-huh.
Okay, like business model canvas is just what we teach. Well, I'm gonna put these links to these programs in our chat so that our members, if they're curious, trying to implement them into their business, they can. Um, so before we go on to the MeGala, is there any other like piece of advice that you would give young entrepreneurs or those, like yourself that are you guys are in like the scale mode?
I think one of the biggest things that helped me coming from healthcare to cleaning, um, I would be face to face with a client and I didn't know the answer. So one of the biggest things John would tell me, he's like, we're called mega service solutions because we're going to find the answer no matter what. So I think for any company that you're in, no matter what, take it in, listen, and try and learn. So I'd be face to face with the customer. I'm like, I don't know the answer, but I'll find out for you. So I think always learning and trying to discover where you want to go.
Yeah, I would say the portion I talked about where you're networking and asking questions, make sure you continue to ask those questions and listen. Listen, because you're gonna find answers. And some of the things that people say that you might not know is the answer right now, but you will need that answer later on. And then have that mentor you can go back to. Always have a mentor. Always. Doesn't matter what echelon, doesn't matter what if they're back in the military, doesn't matter. Everything is so connected and it's like this, you're always discussing the same things. Leadership in the military, the same type of leadership you're gonna need here in the civilian sector. But if you have that mentor, you can always fall back, hey, I'm having a cultural shift. How do I do this, right? How do I implement this new idea I have, right? I'm having struggles where people are buying in. What's another way I can do this, right? So a lot of that is just having that mentor, going back to them and asking them those questions.
Dr. Russ Barnes, he's one of our board members and facilitators. He's an Air Force veteran, but he always tells our cohort members that you should have certain advisors, like a CPA, banker, health management, wealth management, insurance, and there's one legal, right? And the Action Zone, we've developed a, workshop series we call Take Action, and it covers those six advisors, slash mentors. So we recognize that it's really, really important. But outside of those six advisors that advised by Russ, mentorship is really, really important. And I think that the one thing young um, I don't want to say young entrepreneurs, but just people in general, they don't realize that you can fire a mentor. Just feel like, this isn't really working out. And you can make it an easy non-drama breakup. It's not working out. You go find somebody else that might be able to provide you that mentorship that you need to be successful. So, all right, Miguel, I'm so excited about this. Everybody Action Zone is really excited. Um, I'll let you guys talk a little bit about MeGala and then we'll obviously I will comment.
So I think it started 3 years ago when John took over. He was like, hey, let's have a philanthropy arm and serve the community that keeps us in business. So we started a golf tournament because John likes to golf.
Not good at it, but I
Every
love it.
army officer likes to golf. People ask me all the time, do you golf? And I was like, well, I'm the senior NCO in the Army and I have golf clubs because that's
That's what
we
you do.
did.
So we started a golf tournament. We ran that for 3 years. And as we grew our network here in Tampa, we had other people saying, hey, I don't golf, but I want to help support. So this year will be the first Met Gala. It's a Met Gala style gala event that is supporting Action Zone.
So I'm getting a whole suit made for it, but it's supporting Action Zone. So we selected Action Zone for obviously your mission and what you guys do is so wonderful, especially being an entrepreneur myself. So I think that's very great. And we did the MeGala, so now we have our growing network is able to actually join us, right, and give back to the same community we want to give back to.
Well, we appreciate it. This is the first time that anybody in the community is recognized at this level that they're willing to put so much effort and time and your own capital into helping further our mission. And of course, it, it's it's sad that we always have to come down to the dollars, but it takes money in order to help veteran and military spouses and their dependent children realize their dreams to be entrepreneurs. So we are super, super excited. And I have picked up my dress. So I have to make sure that I don't miss my gym time and I stay on my diet so I can wear this. I had to Google the hot Haute. How do you
Uh-huh.
pronounce that?
Hot, hot. Yeah.
Hot. Yeah, hot couture. Because I was like, oh, what does that mean? I'm like the least fashionista you'll ever meet. I'm just like simple black, white, gray is my favorite go-to.
Glasses.
So
So talk a little bit about the go ahead, the MeGala.
yeah, so I think I'm gonna get my dress designed. I drew it out this weekend and showed John what I want to do. But it is Americana theme. It's at the Cuban Club in Ybor on November 8th.
Yeah, November 8th. The attire is going to be, obviously it's that veteran kind of
Americana, red,
but
white,
but
blue.
we want it big. Like, you know how the Met Gala, everyone's like all out, and it's one of the biggest events we want to have here in Tampa, right? Because I haven't really seen one like this where people actually dress up to the T to go to these things. So I am actually trying to find a local, what is it, fashion, or somebody to actually develop my entire.
Seamstress.
Yeah.
Seamstress. There's a dying art, but yeah, seamstress.
I want somebody local to do it, so I can also showcase them at the MeGala. So I'm gonna do that, and we're looking right now because now we don't have that much time.
Now it's
2
crunch
months.
time.
It is. It is. So it's red, white, and glam is what Alonzo says. They're red, white, and glam. So make sure you're wearing some sort of red, white, and glamorous looking outfit. And so okay, you buy tickets. They're online. I'll drop the link in the chat as well. I think it's MeGala at Square something.
I'll send it over so you can put it on. There's MeGala at squarespace.com.
Squarespace.com. Yeah. And what are the like different levels? How can people get involved? Not only just to have fun in their couture attire, but to support Action Zone and all of our founders.
We sold all of our sponsorship except two. We have 2 bar sponsors left to be sold, to be able to help pay for the event as well as give back. All proceeds from the tickets moving here forward are all going towards Action
All
Zone.
goes straight to Action Zone.
So we have 250 people capacity, so that all goes to Action Zone. And then I would buy the VIP ticket if you really want to have a good time, because eventually you're gonna spend the money there.
So there's general admission, and then there's VIP, which is all you can eat and drink.
All you can eat and drink.
We also do have lounges that are available. We have 2 lounges that are available that fit 6 people.
And with those lounges, you actually get bottle service. So you have somebody actually serving your table, and you get to sit down in a nice, luxurious area. But yeah.
And there's auctions and can people still donate not only or can they donate auction items? Can they donate cash? Like how is all that working?
Yeah, so they're more than willing to donate cash. We'll take anything, especially because this is going back to your organization, Action Zone. But then secondly,
Silent auction items.
silent auction items, we're receiving them until the day of, right? Because we want to put them out there as much as we can do to give back to an organization is what we're trying to do. So if anybody out there is, whether they give, a small gift basket or whatever they want to do for the silent auction, we are taking them to the last day just because it's another opportunity for us to bring in some donations for Action Zone.
There'll be entertainment there.
It's a lot of fun things there. It's like it's not like it's not like your normal gala where you sit down, have dinner. It's going to be more hors d'oeuvres, and then
Hors d'oeuvres, cocktails.
There's a lot of music, live bands, live DJs, and then other surprises that we don't want to break out all the good stuff on the video. But
So what I'm hearing is bring your swag.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Get ready.
and wear dancing shoes.
Yes.
And there's also going to be at the actual MeGala, there'll be opportunities for people to donate. Just donate there so they can bring their wallets as well.
I appreciate that. Yes. Well, I know you two are super, super busy, and because I adore you both, I could sit here and talk all day about business and both of you and your journeys. But thank you so much for joining us on In the Zone, especially on 9/11, where we take a moment just to think about that day in our country. Any last parting words for our members before you leave?
No, thank you for having us, and
Yeah, thank you.
And please, I invite everybody to join us at the MeGala. It's a really good event, and
Yeah.
thank you. Really.
Well, I will say that Alonzo, while he said 250 tickets, the capacity is for much more. So
For 500, I think.
500 people.
500. So keep buying tickets.
Buy more tickets.
Buy tickets. And Rosie will give you a big fat hug, and she'll probably bake you some delicious baked goods. So, all right. Thank you both. I can't wait to see you both again in person, probably at the Leadership Tampa Bay reception that's coming up in a couple weeks. And all right. Well, y'all have a good day and the rest of your week.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye.